All right, enough with the sad stuff about the Dreamcast death. But in all the years of you playing your Dreamcast, what were some of your favorite games?
Definitely Jet Set, because it was so unique. Yeah, so I played so there was Jet Set Radio, and it was called Jet Sets. Oh man, no, Jet Grind Radio was the first one. That was the Dreamcast. Right.
Jet Grind, yeah. Oh, Jet Set was great, man.
Jet Set was great on Xbox. I did play the Dreamcast one first, which I loved quite a bit. I have an odd fondness for Sonic. I was old enough to realize that it wasn't a great game, especially after playing the original Sonic games. But I also loved it because it was like the first three Sonic games. Like, there was nothing like this at the time. Even Sonic Adventure 2, I played and I was like accepting of what it was. And if you've played 3D Sonic games since then, you know that people like love those games now, because the newer 3D Sonic games are like not good at all.
No.
So I do have a fondness, for those games specifically. I would say I have the greatest fondness for Soul Calibur, just because I put the most time into Soul Calibur, and not understanding how this was possible on a home console at the time. Like, that was like when you really first felt that this system was above and beyond anything before. It was playing a 3D fighting game that felt like as good as the arcade.
I agree.
I did also like Resident Evil. I did have that for the console. It was the first Resident Evil I actually owned. I played a bunch of Resident Evil games for PS1 on like friends' consoles and stuff like that. But Code Veronica was great on the Dreamcast. I wish they would remake that game, because Capcom gives it absolutely no love, and it's a great Resident Evil game.
I think it's one of the best Resident Evil games to date. It was, everybody loves 2, and 2 was fantastic.
2 was great,
but Code Veronica on the Dreamcast was amazing. Story was good, graphics was good, gameplay was good. I could find very few flaws with Resident Evil outside of the clunky control, because it had the Resident Evil, 3/4 view controls, and but it was, Code Veronica is definitely on my list as one of my favorite Dreamcast games. You mentioned Jet Set Radio and Soul Calibur. We talked about Hydro Thunder, how much fun Ready to Rumble was. But there were 2 that we didn't talk about that are definitely on my list as one of our favorite games. You have Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which was arcade perfect. And I know we said that term a lot talking about the Dreamcast, but
that Marvel game is expensive now. I think a complete in-box copy is probably like $180 or something like that.
And it's worth every penny. It is still one of the most sought after games for any console. People come in constantly asking if we have a copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for any console, and no one wants to give it up. The
PS2 one is pretty expensive too, but I mean, that Dreamcast one, everybody loved that Dreamcast one more. Like, I remember that period of time. Like, there was a version for PS2, there was a version for Xbox. I'm sure that both of those are sought after as well, but not like the Dreamcast one. Like, if you have all those consoles, the Dreamcast one is the one you want, despite it coming out later to those other versions.
Mm-hmm. The Dreamcast version was perfect. It was perfect. It was flawless. It played so smooth. I liked the controller. The controller felt good. For a fighting game, it was great. And then another one of my favorites is an oddball one, Space Channel 5.
I've never played that. So that was like a rhythm game, right?
That was a rhythm game. It was a rhythm game. Yeah, it was. You had the main heroine she would dance. The whole game was about dancing, and there would be music playing. If you're familiar with the group D-Light for back in the day, like Groove is in the Heart, they did that song. But it was like the main character seemed like it was modeled after her, because it had this very hippie type of vibe. And you had to press the buttons and make her dance and beat, and then shoot her weapon in time with the music. Another game that featured Michael Jackson, because he would pop out in one of the stages and you would be dancing with him. But Space Channel 5 it's something that was different, that we hadn't seen a whole lot of. And then the Dreamcast kind of took it and kind of did something special with it for Space Channel 5. So yeah, Space Channel 5 was one of my favorites. And then
Dreamcast had so many oddities, man. You got like a little choo-choo rocket in there.
I thought about that earlier. Choo-choo rocket.
your little Samba de Amigo, your
Yes.
maracas on.
Yes, you had the maracas. You had the maracas, and you had like the little sensor bars, and you had to raise them and for high, middle, and low, and make a pose. And
Absolutely, man. I
Samba de-
wonder if those maracas are expensive. They're probably harder to find, I would imagine.
and you know what? I hate doing this, and I actually sold mine. I couldn't.
No.
I know. It was just there, and I'm like, I don't have any room anymore. I got too much stuff, and I said, you know what? I just brought it to my store Level Up, and I said, here, guys, I'm selling this, and there it went. It sold rather quickly too.
I would have bought them.
I sold it, and within a couple of days, we posted it on our Facebook. Hey, for Dreamcast lovers, this is what we just got in. It was the box. It was complete.
You had the box too? Oh, that was my next question, man. I was going right down that road.
I had everything. I had the box because the box was a tall, slender box. So like I said, it was awkward to store. I was like, I'm just gonna get rid of it. And we posted it, and two or 3 days later, it was gone. So
yeah, I can imagine. What about since we're on peripherals real quick? I know we're about to wrap up, but did you ever have the keyboard and play Typing of the Dead? Because that was another staple of the Dreamcast that was super out there.
I didn't. I didn't. I saw the game because I remember you could buy the game and the keyboard together.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was, for those who don't know, Typing of the Dead was basically House of the Dead, where you typed the word above the zombies to shoot them.
It was like a learning game, but it's like, cool, you're playing a mature rated like zombie killing game, but it's also teaching you how to type. Like, can you imagine being a teenager and giving that, like, here, your son, you're gonna learn how to type, kill these zombies? I would have been like, hell yeah, I'll learn how to type. Give me that game. Let me see that thing.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So you're going to somebody's like, hey, you know what? You want to learn how to type? So we can either go with Mavis Beacon typing, or we could go with Typing of the Dead.
Dude, Mavis Beacon. Oh man, you brought back some stuff. Jesus God, I remember those programs.
I know.
Awful.
Awful. So now Typing of the Dead was very original. I don't think it sold very well.
No,
because it was such an oddity.
Very odd. I mean, that keyboard didn't sell well either. Man, I remember getting clearance in those things out because I when I started working for Electronics Boutique, it would have been like 2000. It would have been like 2000. That would have been around the time that I started working there. So the Dreamcast already had one foot out of the door. Like, it was on its last leg at that point. So that stuff was already on clearance, man. I probably could have picked up a keyboard for like $3 if I wanted it. But at the time, I was like, why the hell do I want a keyboard? There's like 2 games in the Dreamcast for a keyboard. I'm not buying that. But like, looking back, I was like, why didn't I buy that? It was like $3. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. As we're talking and reminiscing about the Dreamcast and our feelings, I'm really curious to whoever's watching this on YouTube. Please comment. Please. Let me know what your favorite games were for the Dreamcast. What memories you have playing the Dreamcast. Your feelings on the Dreamcast. We'd love to know. We really love to know.
We absolutely would. Also, if you guys didn't know, this month we're going to make an announcement. It's not up yet, so you don't know, at least as far as right now goes in real time, but I don't know when this is going to post. September is Dreamcast month for Nerd Enthusiast Gaming. Not only are we going to have this whole Dreamcast podcast that's going to air, there's going to be blog posts on our blog about the Dreamcast, so you guys can check that out there. I got at least 1, maybe 2 TikTok videos that are going to be coming out. So please stay tuned to all of our content on all of our network, and you will see more Dreamcast stuff throughout the month of September. Follow us over on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all those things. Subscribe, share, thumb up the video. If you guys are listening on podcast services, please like it on there. Give us 5 stars reviews. It just helps with the algorithm. And go support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Nerd Enthusiast. It helps out all of our shows, including this one, as well as the other content that we create. We would greatly appreciate any support you can provide over there. Plus, you guys get exclusive videos from all of our creators. I want to thank Wes for coming on the Dreamcast show for us and doing the podcast as usual.
Of course. I always enjoy being here.
It's great having you, Wes. I'm glad we got to talk Dreamcast today. It was a good nostalgia trip down memory lane for me.
And we get to do it again next month with Nintendo 64.
Oh, absolutely, man. We'll show off some of our games. We'll have some great pictures for you guys and stories as well.
Oh, yeah.
Please stay tuned for that. Until next time, you guys take care.
Have a good one.